What a show.
Oh my god.
Okay, this is very, very interesting, people. We gotta talk about this for a real quick second. Yeah, quality over quantity, I guess. That was the approach, Castle. It was very short. We saw a very limited amount of games. Maybe, you know, what, 8 in total or something like that? But that's the thing, and that's what I've been talking about already for, you know, ever since the Microsoft show, of course, is that the whole thing that PlayStation right now is focusing on is simply on the quality, right? And these games are undoubtedly looking amazing. Like, pretty much every single one of the big four that they focused on looked incredible. Let's get into those, you know, first of all, right? We gotta get into Last of Us, which is what they started with. Looked insane. I was kind of surprised how similar it does look to the first Last of Us, which I guess I shouldn't... It's just weird, you know, you don't know what to expect from the first sequel. You don't know what it's gonna keep and what it's not, and what it's gonna try and, you know, improve on, but it mainly just looked like a graphical enhancement. And mechanic-wise, actually, I didn't see, like, that much stuff. Hiding under the cars was cool and everything. You know, we'll see how people in the world are gonna react to the whole scene in the beginning, and you know what I'm talking about. This is kind of like, you know, yeah, I don't even know. You know, it's like, it's not that I mind it. It's just that I don't know if it's like necessary. You know, I don't know if Nioh needs to like constantly focus on this type of stuff in his games. But it's his choice, and you know, you either accept it or you don't. It's really that simple. I'm still gonna play the game regardless. I do know that. But yeah, like it looked very impressive. It looked very impressive. Graphics were insane, brutal as fuck. Ellie seems to be a bit, like I said, more agile. I had the feeling that she could run faster and stuff, you know. So so overall, I was very impressed with Last of Us Part 2. It looked like a nice improvement, mainly graphically, of course, over the first one. Although, yeah, you can tell Naughty Dog already kind of like maxed out the graphics pretty much with Uncharted 4 on the PS4. Because this looked better, but not like... This is no Uncharted Drake's Fortune to Uncharted 2 leap. This is more like an, you know, like a Uncharted 2 to The Last of Us kind of leap or whatever. How you wanna... Yeah, I guess that's more accurate, but I don't know. So yeah, that was The Last of Us. Ghost of Tsushima looked insane graphically. Mechanics-wise, like the fighting and everything looked very cool, but I don't know if it's gonna be like, you know, anything too special from what I've seen so far. But, you know, I love the way the world looked. The horse riding looked awesome, you know, just how... Those graphics are insane. Like, honestly, Ghost of Tsushima might have been the most impressive looking game. That might have looked even better than The Last of Us, I'm not sure. Both of them looked insanely good. So, I can't wait for that. Just like I told you, that was going to be the huge surprise. And yeah, I'm very impressed with Ghost of Tsushima. Death Stranding... Yo, Death Stranding had me the most surprised, and the reason why is because this had a completely different vibe than any of the 3 previous trailers. The 3 previous trailers were completely mysterious, you know, you didn't know what was going on, it was creepy, you kind of had a feeling like this might end up being a horror game, but this was way different. This actually made it seem like a very kind of peaceful and... You know, and this looks awesome. A very peaceful, nice, quiet-looking game. We saw some female characters that are going to be part of it. I have no idea what to expect. I need to watch that trailer like 5 more times to understand what is exactly going on. But it's clear that he's some type of like transporting guy. He carries all this like load and stuff, and so he's transporting stuff for some reason. And we also saw part of the gameplay being that you have to sneak away from these creatures, right? So that's what I predicted, that you would use the arm, which would be telling you in what direction that they're coming from, and you have to, like, you know, kind of go in the opposite direction then in that way. So, very impressed by Death Stranding, looked amazing as well. And, yeah, and Spider-Man looked great. Spider-Man just looked, you know, the way you know it's gonna... Like, we've already seen Spider-Man last time at E3, we see more now, we saw it at E3 just now as well. It just looks very impressive. It looks like it's going to be awesome. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. We had a couple of surprises, I guess. Some like Kingdom Hearts, Pirates of the Caribbean stuff, which was interesting and fun. We had the project, yeah, P7 from Remedy, which also looked really, really good. although it very much reminded me of Quantum Break. It was actually very similar to Quantum Break, but that's cool. You know, they want to make another one of those kind of like physics mind-bending type of the games. Nioh 2, yeah, Nioh 2 was a cool announcement. Resident Evil 2 remake. A lot of people will like that. Yeah, I mean, overall, it was quality over quantity. That's basically what it was. Some of the surprises were still pretty cool, although not on the level of like what we saw back in 2016 in the slightest. But it's mainly about those 4 games, just like they said. They were going to focus on these 4 huge titles, and they delivered on those. Look how insane this looks. It looks incredible. I'm really impressed. It's pretty safe to say that we have like 4 amazing games to look forward to, and one is coming out very soon. So that's yeah. If I would have to like give it a score, I don't know. I would give it a. I would give it like a maybe 8.5, maybe 8.5, maybe 9. I don't know. It was no 10. It was definitely no 10. Also, one thing I found weird is that they had this weird approach with like the rooms, right? At first we thought, oh, they're gonna keep moving from room to room, so that's very innovative and new and surprising, but it just turned out basically that they only had the first room for The Last of Us, and then they moved on to the theater part, and then that was it. So, yeah, I don't know exactly why they chose that approach. They could have just done Last of Us in that same theater. Like, why did they not do that? I'm not exactly sure about that. But, yeah. Yeah, overall, I would say, if you compare PlayStation to Xbox, you can clearly see a very different direction and a different thing these two companies set out to do. With PlayStation, it was all about just, you know, keeping consumers confident, keeping their fans happy, showing these amazing games that are coming up. With Microsoft, it was about giving their fans more confidence in the future. You know, with like the acquisition of studios. And so in that way, I might have to give Microsoft the slight edge this year, because they at least they outdid what they needed to do. You know what I mean? And Sony didn't necessarily. Sony just did what they needed to do, and Microsoft outdid what they needed to do. So in that way, I might give Microsoft the slight edge this year, though. But overall, amazing show.